diabolical. But there's got to come a point where they start giving some of the young French players a go, but their recruitment doesn't seem to suggest that that's going to happen either. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and you're also going to be asking questions next season about what state Jason Battieri's head's going to be at after the shenanigans down under and etc. and the war of words and
it doesn't
all
matter,
the things coming out.
Any French players will be playing alongside him, so he doesn't have to convince too many of them to join his campaign against the Federation.
Well, it's not so much that; it's just what effects that going to have on his own performance, I suppose, and all that turbulence and not having having that disruption in your off season. Is that going to have a problem? Cause him a problem? Is he going to be back later training, whatever? But it's hard to say too much more about this, isn't it? Because it's just before we
slide on to the two very well put together audio reviews that we've got. There was only one positive to talk about, and we've mentioned it already, but I was at the game at the Camp Nou, and it was one of the most uplifting experiences I've had in a very not uplifting period of following rugby league this year for me. But that experience was absolutely fantastic, and if Catalans can bring that to more of their own home games and create that sort of atmosphere when they do crossovers with Toulouse and things like that next year, then there is a big positive within Catalan with that. It's just a shame there was such a negative after that.
And that kit was superb as well that they wore out that game. You've got to give credit where it's due. So we've got two eclectic fan reviews, starting off, which I believe may be coming to us live from a branch of Nando's. It's Alan Walker.
2019, what a season, eh? Lots of relegation drama. Super League needs to get the action happening at the top of the league, not at the bottom. It's in danger of becoming like a porno movie. All that action, everyone jacks off, but we know what ending is coming. London go down anyway. As I say, relegation doesn't do anyone a favour. Time for it to go. What a season for the Dragons, eh? Another failure to make the playoffs. There are no excuses for that. The resources are there, the injuries are not as bad as any other team, and what team gets fed better than the one fed on the best meat in North Catalonia? I'm sick of excuses. Even the lack of neutral refs didn't hurt us as much as normal. There's also no excuse for being nilled at home or losing badly at home to Hull, KR and London, or surrendering the cup meekly to Hull. Hull are the only team as dodgy as us, so much so I'm sure there's going to be a coach swap coming. Pass me the bolt gun, that'll do me. That will fucking hell. But there were positives for the season. I think bringing in drinks breaks is a positive for welfare. Splitting the matches into 4 quarters should be extended to all games, I think. Clubs should be penalised, however, if the bars run dry. We also won at Liverpool, which is something that Barca failed to do. Talking of Barca, beating Wigan at Camp Nou was the highlight of the season, I think. And except for Anfield, was pretty much all she wrote, and we put the queue in the rack right after. Even though the event failed to attract any locals except me and the missus and a Canadian, over 35,000 to a regular game was a great achievement and a great advert for the sport. The shirt was pretty cool too, and we won without a halfback. We had the secret to playing top rugby. And then Stupicoat Steves puts Smith back in, and the rest was history. Or was it tragedy? It was fab to have a beer or two with Mark and the Space Cowboy and some friends after the match. And that was it. Season over in May. In May. It's supposed to be summer rugby, and we're done before the summer starts. Fucking hell. June, nout. July, nout. August, nout. September, nout. October, nout. 5 months, nout, nout, Now, fucking now. I should have done this review in May and handed in to Mark in person. Next season, well, I hope we promote more of the local lads, ditch the British players, as only Broughton and Whitehead have ever done any good for us. Mickey Mack, of course, is Irish. He can stay and work with our regs. I'm sure Jimmy Maloney will do something to teach our young playmakers how to develop. I hope he ain't a one-season wonder, second-season passenger, though. Something's got to happen next year. But what? Rumba. That's for sure. I'll renew my season ticket again, and one thing's for certain. If Steve's don't get off to a flyer, I think he's going to be burger meat. If not, the kebab guys that buy it all up. Hey, Hull fans, send Radford and we'll do them both if you want. I want us to get back to our way of playing. Big guys bashing up the middle and crazy guys doing the magic out on the fly. Super fly.
Adeu, estrella del dia. Adeu, clavell morenet. 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 Adeu, estrella del dia.
So that's certainly one approach to it. And now we're going to hear another fan view, this time from Malkarma Tios.
Oh no! Bad karma.
Was a heavy season, man. So heavy. Bad karma.
Mac! Cola!
Ah, fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
So there we go. And quite frankly, I'm really not sure what they're smoking down there.
I think we just
There's
moved
clearly- there's-
quickly on from that. That
Do we have to?
Yes, we do.
genuine mid-table obscurity to discuss now, Sarah.
Yeah. So, Hull FC finished 6th, which, was actually better than absolutely everyone predicted. So the fans thought we'd finish 8th, Alan 9th, Mark and Tim 10th, while I was more optimistic and said 7th.
I think I did a U here and went with what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, quite possibly. So, oh dear, where do we start? I think
First game of the season, I think.
Yeah, well, sadly, I think that sort of epitomised our season. No backburn, no idea, soft defence, unable to play for 80 minutes. Injury to Dawson Jones, who we then obviously didn't see again in the season.
That was one of the things I wanted to ask you about, actually, Sarah. None of your signings played. It's not really a question, is it? It's more a statement. But none of your signings played.
I'm
I think
trying to think
Satai
now.
played more games than Dawson Jones, Langtree, and Nzongu put together.
Yeah, well, this is it, yeah.
And he came in July.
Maybe August, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I mean, Dawson Jones, that wasn't a selection issue. That was a very unfortunate injury after scoring 2 tries. Yeah, I don't know why we brought Nzongu and Langtree in to then never play them. And yeah, Satai, I mean, is a big fella. He's a huge fella. We signed Ratu. He played a lot.
Tim led you to talk about the first game of the season. I think I'll lead you to talk about your first win of the season. Not that I want to, but that was Ratu Nulongo's first appearance as well, wasn't it? And he was the bright spot for your season.
Yes and no. I mean, when he, those early matches he played for us, he was a total breath of fresh air. But I think then teams started to know what he was about and limit the amount of space he got, and realised that maybe he wasn't terribly secure, and his defence wasn't so great. He would fly out the line and things like that. But yeah, I mean, he definitely was a bright spark. I think for obviously the semi-final at Bolton was a disappointment. It just felt like we didn't ever get started. And yeah, it was just a season that lacked anything much, really.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about, because we've talked about it a lot and I still don't think we've come to a conclusion, maybe the best part of your season was when this was really in the melting pot as to where do you play Connor, where do you play Kelly, how much do you play either of them alongside Snide. Where are we up to with where Jake Connor should play for Hull FC or not, and who's the better standoff, Albert Kelly or Jake Connor? Where do you feel we're up to with that?
You see, it's interesting because I wasn't sure whether that was something I was nearly going to touch on it, and then I wasn't sure if that was a topic for the season preview. And I think that Connor is better in the centre than at standoff. I think he consistently performs better there, but we're going to have massive issues because we have about 100 3/4 signed for next season. So short of having 5 wingers and 8 centres, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do.
Several are going to have to turn into second rowers, I feel.
Well, I think Josh Griffin will play in the second row. I mean, he was a highlight this year. He picked up most of the awards at the awards ceremony.
He was also talked about as an international player come the midpoint of the season when Hull FC had made a surprising push into the top 3.
Yeah. Well, at one point we were 1 win off second, and we were at that point twice, I think it was. And then, we were 1 win off needing off 5th, and we still couldn't perform. I think we were guilty of sentimentality in renewing Manu and Minnie's contracts. I think maybe it would have been right to have said, no, we're not doing it, because they were, they're old and not doing a lot for us, really.
But Sarah, you're the side that brought Gareth Ellis out of retirement at 37 years old.
I know, but he actually was able to do something. He was more useful. Although I'm not convinced that giving him another year is the best idea, but there we go. But it's all going to be great next year, isn't it? We're going to win the league, win the cup, and everything
What did
else.
your fellow fans have to say then?
So Dad said, highlight was the final whistle against St Helens last match of the season and an end to abjectness. Scott Schroeder said, no brains and less heart. And Phil Naden said, predictably a bit shit when they need